Welcome to NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas, the new home of the Texas High School State Championship football games. Tonight on 101.9 K-Bus, we bring you the undefeated 15-0 Paris Wildcat.
That was fake. That was a pre-recorded audio broadcast a coach made for us during tour days. It was like a glimpse of what we could become if we did what we were supposed to do. That was our goal, to win state. Now, I know it's supposed to be every team's goal to win state, but that's just not true. We've played teams whose goal isn't even close to that. Our crosstown rival, they will tell you themselves that their only goal every year is to beat us. Because they suck, we're good, and they hate us. The only difference between us and all the other teams who have this same goal is that we're the best team in the state. We have the best coaching staff, the best quarterback, amazing running backs, awesome receivers, and not too shabby offensive line. And up until this year, our defense was the best thing about us. Now I know what you're thinking.
Well, if you're the best team in the state, how come you didn't win?
I'll get there, but first, let me go back to the beginning. The year was 1988, and the Paris Wildcats play at the Class 4A Division I state championship game. The only other time they had been to state was 8 years earlier in 1980, but they got their butts handed to them on a silver platter, which is ironic because both of those teams were so good that they weren't even called the Paris Wildcats. They were called the Silver Crush. And in 1988, the Silver Crush beat the multiple-time defending state championships and claimed the title for themselves. But in 2010, the pieces started being put back together as they hired a 3-time state defending head coach from a lower class. He instilled in them the dream of returning to state and reclaiming their title. His first year there, they went to the first round and lost. His second year, they lost in the second round. At this rate, it would only be a matter of 7 years before they won state. But then out of nowhere, he left. The freshman class at this time, now the senior class, had all the talent in the state, but no head coach to get them there. Later that spring, a new man by the name of Steven Hohenberger had taken up the mantle of head coach and was ready to coach his team to success. Not necessarily to state, but to success in life. Because after high school, life is what matters. We now reach the present day as we have just come back from our best season since 1988. The Silver Crush returned when they went 3 rounds in the playoffs and lost to a team they beat earlier in the season. Okay, so our goal was to go 16-0 and finally win state. Our first game was against the Mount Pleasant Tigers. Up until last year, they had continued to beat us. But since their star player was gone and we were a better team, it was an easy win. Our next game, we beat the Melissa Cardinals 72 to 30-something. So far, we had the same 2-0 record that we started out with last year. Next was Argyle. Up until last year, when they had lost to Navasota in the state championship game, they had been on a 2-year win streak. Argyle has to win everything. They win state every year at everything. If we could beat Argyle, then we knew we could win states. Only state championship teams can beat Argyle. We ended up losing, and that destroyed our undefeated streak. We had to bounce back and prepare for district as we got ready to play against the Liberty Ilu Leopards. They were the ones who beat us out of the playoffs last year. We beat them every year in district for as long as I can remember. It made no sense to lose to them. We had to beat them and get our revenge. Man, we lost. I hated it. Honestly, don't like that team. And we just had to wait until the playoffs to play them again. We went on a losing streak. We lost to Princeton and Pittsburgh our next 2 games. We couldn't afford to lose another game. We had to make it to the playoffs. If we could make it to the playoffs, we could win state, but we had to make it there. We finally got a win against Quinlan Ford. It wasn't a big deal to us. They weren't a very good team, and we knew that going in. We were just happy to have the win. We had our last game of the season against our crosstown rival, the North Lamar Panthers. They were better than they have been in a long time, but that's not saying much. We beat them 49-14. We made it to the playoffs. We were selected to play the Kaufman Lions. They were a really good team. They went 9-1 that season. But we had played some of the teams in their district before, and we knew we could beat them. It was over. We lost in the first round of the playoffs, and my football career was over.